Hi, Joanne. All right. Welcome to Sunday Night Yin. Subbing for Kenna, who kind of took over this time slot for me during this just at-home practice. But yeah, glad to be here. I'll be here tonight and then again in 2 weeks. So not Memorial Day next weekend, but the weekend after. I'll be here again from this place of my home. If you have a couple of like pillows, you can see in the back that I've got like bed pillows. That's what I grabbed because it'll totally work with bed pillows. If you have a couple pillows, you can also use bolsters. If you are one of those people who happen to have bolsters, you could use those too. We're going to do a good amount of twisting tonight, and the support is really helpful. You can also do twists on like a chair, like if you have like a folding chair or like a dining chair that doesn't have arms on it, you could do that too. A camp chair wouldn't probably work so well. Those are mostly what I have available. So anyways, if you have something like that you can use, great. If not, you can definitely do it without, of course. So yeah, okay, let's get started. Glad to be here. My name's Corinne, for those of you joining online. So I pulled the whale card for us tonight. I just decided last minute to pull an animal spirit card, and that was the one that flew right out of the deck at me. So the whale, or the medicine of the whale, is very emotional. It's very much about being emotionally healthy and not afraid to express emotions. When in balance anyway, the whale is very compassionate, comfortable expressing emotions, feeling emotions, which we've had a lot of time, a lot of opportunities, I think, to feel quite a wide variety of emotions. I know I've been up and down, probably like all of you have as well. When out of balance, the interesting thing about the whale medicine is that the whale tends to get rolled up in old stories, like old things that maybe you have told yourself in the past. A lot of times it's something like I'm, not doing enough, or I'm not good enough, or those kinds of like old stories, things that just aren't true. So I just thought that we could take that medicine of the whale with us into our practice tonight, noticing when maybe our minds start to reverse into an old story. I had a day this week where I repeated the same story to myself probably 500 times in one day, and I couldn't, and it was so funny too because it would kept popping up, and it was some judgment on myself, of myself, and, experience with what felt like judgment maybe coming from someone else. And it was just so funny because it just kept showing up like all day, the entire day. And it even got to the point where I was very aware of it, and very aware of it being an old story of mine. And it would show up and I'd be like, why? Like, why are you here again? I thought we dealt with this, And it did get to the point where I was finally able to just be like, no, like I am done with this. Like I am so done with this. I'm not going there anymore. And that was it. I didn't go there anymore that day, or it didn't pop up anymore. Sometimes it's as easy as that. Other times it takes a lot more time. Sometimes you think that you've dealt with something, processed an emotion, felt an emotion, developed an awareness around it, and then years later it just shows up like, hey, do you remember me? I'm still around, a little bit, kind of, here I am. Oh, so funny and annoying, but it's part of being human. So we just do it. We just experience it. So maybe you're experiencing an old story. Maybe you've had a lot of extra time to be in your own head over these last couple of months, and you've been able to realize that there's some old stories that have popped back up for you. So if that's the case, I invite you to just notice those tonight. Maybe hold that awareness of like, oh, this is a story that I used to tell myself. And, ask yourself, is it true anymore? And hopefully the answer is no. And to help kind of release some of that physically, of course, because this is a yin practice, we are going to be focusing a lot on twists. So we're going to be doing a lot of twists, a lot of work in our spine and belly. We tend to hold a lot of that stuck emotional energy in our belly. So we're going to kind of be focusing on a lot of twists from the core, from the navel, from the Manipura chakra, the third chakra. So let's come to a comfortable spot. If you want to sit, that's fine. If you want to lie down, that's fine too. It's Sunday night. Do what feels best. Remember, at the end of the day, this practice is for you. You're here for you. Part of the energy of the whale is self-care. One of the main things you can do to bring that balance, that energy balance between the emotionally expressive, compassionate, positive energy of the whale, and maybe the repeating of old stories, kind of negative energy of the whale. One of the things you can do to help bring that into balance is really extreme and radical self-care. So if you're here tonight, you're doing it, good job. Whether you practice the poses or not, it doesn't matter. But we'll start with our eyes closed. So again, maybe you want to sit, maybe you want to lie down. It's completely up to you. And just start to pay attention to your own check-in as you close your eyes. Start to notice what you notice. How do you shift? How does your posture change? What sounds do you hear? What other senses are you aware of right now? Maybe smell. Maybe it's a deepening or a lengthening of your breath that happens naturally, or even just witnessing, observing the breath as it is. Start to feel, observe, and experience your own internal check-in. Let's bring our awareness into our navel, into our belly. If you'd like, place your left hand maybe just above your navel and your right hand maybe just below your navel. So the belly holds two energy centers, or two chakras. You have your sacral chakra, your second, the Svadhisthana chakra, which is the low abdomen, reproductive organs, and the sacrum, the low back. And then you have your third chakra, which is your Manipura chakra, which is going to be right above the navel. And that's going to be, right above the navel. It's going to be kind of the area of maybe around the kidneys, just below the ribs, in the back, middle of the back area. So maybe you're placing one hand on both of those energy spaces. And as you do so, see if you can isolate your breath just into the hands, just into the belly. So you're breathing just into the abdomen, but the whole abdomen, from top to bottom and bottom to top. Once you find that abdominal breath, the next time you inhale, hold the breath, and see if you can't push your belly out just a little bit further. And then release as you exhale. Again, inhale, hold the breath. In the belly, push the belly out a little more. Exhale, release. We'll do that 3 more times. So inhale, full expanded belly, hold the breath. Push the belly out a little further. And exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. Push the belly out, expand the belly. Exhale. You might find that the belly is now automatically going to that full place on its own. Maybe there is no more room for you to expand. The breath is expanding the belly on its own. Go ahead and do it one more time. And you'll hear my dog barking because that's what he does. And then just release the breath. You can release the hands. Let the breath return to whatever is normal or natural for you. And we'll take a moment before we move into our first posture to set an intention for our practice. If you'd like, you could place maybe your hands over your heart, over your chest. Maybe hands together at the heart. Just taking a moment to check in with why you're here tonight or tomorrow or whenever it is that you're watching this. If you're live, it's Sunday night, but for you it might be a different time, a different day. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing or not doing, take a moment to just check in and ask yourself what your intention is. Imagine if in this practice, anytime you practice, imagine that you're riding a bike and that bike is creating energy, creating electricity. And then riding that bike is making a light bulb burn brighter and brighter and brighter, creating this energy. And if you could bottle this energy, where would you direct it? Where would you send it? We'll go ahead and move into our first space for the evening, our first posture. So let's come to seated. Come back to my mat here. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. So coming to seated, we're going to start off with just a nice gentle forward fold. Now, if I say the word forward fold, like legs together, forward fold, and something in you goes, there's nothing gentle about that, then find yourself a wall, and you can lay on your back and take your legs. Imagine there's a wall behind my legs here. You can lay on your back and rest your legs up the wall, and that's still going to help to neutralize your spine, which is what we're going for here. Otherwise, if you're sitting, feel free to sit up on one of those pillows if you grabbed a pillow. And otherwise, you could take, like I said, I have 2 bed pillows here. You could take your pillows, maybe just stack them on your lap, and then you have something to rest your elbows on. Or maybe you can come all the way down, rest your head on your hands. Stacking one fist on top of the other is really great as well. Or if you're not using pillows, that's okay. You don't need them. You're just coming into a nice, easy round back forward fold. Feet are relaxed. And that could just look something like this. Again, maybe you want to hold your chin. Maybe you're able to release your head to your hands. So go ahead and find, this pose is called, or this posture is called caterpillar. So just taking a moment to kind of take yourself really deep inside this sort of cocoon space. at the beginning of our practice. So not only to help to release the spine, but also to help us shift our attention even more inward, to shift our attention even more to our internal landscape as opposed to the external. Not to say that you might not be hearing sounds of the external world right now, but try to bring your attention inside. This posture, anytime we do a forward fold like this, it's an opportunity to release our attachment to what's going on around us, to release our attachment to the way we present ourselves in the world. It's a chance to become the caterpillar, to go into the cocoon over and over again, to check back in. The great experiences of this life that we get to live, this human life we get to live, is that we are able to re-center, we are able to go inside, back into our cocoons, as many times as we want to. We don't have just this one life cycle. We're always in a process of remembering who we are and trusting ourselves and experiencing our own magnificence and beauty each time we come out of the cocoon. We don't change physically. We don't necessarily turn into a different being. We just remember to trust ourselves. We remember that, oh yeah, I am amazing just as I am. It's here, it's now, it's happening. This is it. This is the moment. So we'll be in this forward fold for another couple of minutes. You're welcome to drop a little deeper if that happens naturally for you. Or if maybe you dropped in too deep right off the bat, you want to back out a little bit, that's good too. Remember, this practice is all about taking care of you. Notice every time a distraction pulls you away from this practice, this moment. If you're practicing from home, which I'm sure most of you are, there's all kinds of built-in distractions. You have pets and partners and outside sounds. So many things. Smells, maybe there's cooking smells or thinking about cooking. There's so many things in our home that can easily distract us. That's okay. It's even okay if you have to get up and go check on something and then come back. There's no judgment for that. Not here, not if you even were practicing at the yoga studio with me. You are always welcome to take care of your needs, whatever they are, whenever you need to. For tonight, just notice when those home distractions pull your attention away. I have them too. I have a dog that barks all the time. I have them too. And they pull your attention away and then you go, oh yeah, bring it back, bring it back. And then they pull your attention away and you go, oh yeah, bring it back, bring it back. It's part of the beauty of practicing from home. Go ahead and take 4 more breaths in this forward fold. Nice easy breaths. Then if you have your legs up the wall, go ahead and bend your knees. Maybe start by just bringing your feet down to the wall first. And if you are seated in forward fold, you can slowly start to curl yourself back up to seated. If you have your eyes closed, I'd invite you to keep them closed as you return to seated. Or if they're open and your gaze is just soft, let the gaze stay soft, maybe down towards your legs. If you're at the wall, you can roll off to one side and kind of slowly crawl yourself back up to seated. And after every posture, it's important to take just even a breath or two, just a moment to kind of feel the release as well. Let the energy sort of resettle in your body, kind of reconfigure itself, right? It's if you just shook up a snow globe and now the pieces, the energy is reconfiguring itself so that it's more aligned with your highest good. And at any point when you're ready, you can move your legs, stretch back, whatever would feel good to you right now. And we're going to come into our first twist together. So this is the one where I'm going to use my pillows. Again, you don't have to have pillows, but I do find that this twist is nice to have a little support of some kind. Now, if you have like a chair, like a folding chair or like an ottoman type thing, you could actually set that like here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come onto one hip and we're twisting onto our abdomen, so it kind of looks like this. So if you had like a chair or some sort of a surface that's, maybe somewhere in here, I think a chair would probably be about that high, you could rest your head and you still have that twist happening from your belly and your spine. If you have pillows or bolsters, you can take these and you can use them to come down that way as well. These pillows are really squishy, so I probably would fold them up in half. There we go. So I'm going to do that with them. Make them a little bit firmer. There, yeah, that's better. Ugh. But so you're twisting while sitting on your head. Doesn't matter what side you do first. And then you're bringing your abdomen as much as you can onto whatever surface you have. Now you could do this on the floor too. I just find that it's so much nicer with a little bit of support. Feel free to cover yourself with a blanket at any point. You could also put maybe a blanket or pillow between your legs, like between your knees or between your ankles for some support. You want to feel that twist originating right through the center of your back and your belly, kind of right between the second and third chakra that we talked about at the beginning, or right in that third chakra, the navel, above the belly button. And then once you find it, you can turn your head away as well. That's going to deepen it a little bit. That's a little too much for me and my neck. Also, sometimes it feels good just to put your chin down and your head is forward. So whatever is working for you, feel free to opt into like a different twist altogether too, right? So if that belly twist doesn't work for you, if you're not lying on your belly because maybe you're pregnant or you just don't want to lay on your belly, you can just come onto your back, right, and take a nice easy twist that way. We are going to do this lying down twist and supine twist together, different variation. But if you wanted to for this twist, you could just take both knees over to one side as well. So find a twist that works for you always. Find variation of any posture that works for you. And then let yourself make any adjustments as you're in the posture. I find that my first minute in any yin pose, I almost always have to make like 16 minor intentional adjustments to like really find that sweet spot. It's also because when you first land in these yin postures, your body is really tight, and sometimes the body stays really tight. Other times it's just tight from, just the activities of your day. Like you might not have super tight low back all the time, but if you've been just standing, sitting, walking around, kind of keeping your spine nice and straight this way, you haven't been twisting, which I don't know about you guys, but I don't do a lot of twisting in my day-to-day activities. When you come into a twist, there's going to be a sense of sort of pushback, tension from your spine, and that's okay. As long as it's not painful, let yourself be in that spot for a while. And maybe what happens is that it gets a little bit more relaxed, and then you have to adjust. So make any adjustments that you need to. And it is yin, so we will be here for a few minutes. Another good opportunity to stay internal. The breath is a wonderful tool to keep us focused. It's also very easy to stop thinking about the breath because it's going to come regardless. Thoughts or emotional responses to thoughts or feelings in your body. Just allowing those to move with the practice, to notice them, feel them. Noticing too if there's any old stories present for you tonight that are showing up. Planet Venus entered a retrograde this last week, which means it appears to be spinning backwards. It's of course not, but that's what it looks like. And part of a retrograde and with Venus is reassessing, re-exploring. So it's really common during retrogrades for old stories to show up again. Makes sense why the medicine of the whale showed up for us tonight. The imbalance in the whale energy, or medicine being that old story or those old stories. Just observe them when they show up, whether it's in this practice, if it's been happening this week, if it continues to happen through this month. It's all good. It's okay. Just notice. Notice when the old stories as you're ready, slide your hands under your shoulders, or use your hands as you'd like to, use your arms to lift yourself up. And start to slowly release the twist. You've been there for a few minutes, so take some time to release. And my favorite thing to do between the two sides is to just start to transition like I'm going to the other side, but pausing seated and just lying back. I'll just lie back on the folded pillows here. And just lying back, you could be on the floor. You could sit, maybe just sitting up with a straight spine. Just allowing your spine to neutralize and feeling too the difference and the imbalance from one side to the other. And you can stay there in that balanced place for as long as you want to. There's no rush. When you are ready, you'll just turn to the other side. Adjust your props as you need to or want to. I'm going to go even higher on this side maybe. There we go. I think that might be it. Maybe. And remember, you can take some time to get that spot just right. If you are using any kind of support, a chair, pillows, bolsters, whatever you've got, if you are using any kind of support, just make sure that the support is actually supporting you, as opposed to like you having to hold it in place or the support maybe causing you more tension. Make sure the support is actually supportive. Feel free to let your eyes close. Any point you need to readjust the twist, deepen it, lighten it, whatever it is, feel free to take that time. Make those adjustments. Let's take 4 more breaths. And using your arms, your hands to help you start to come up and out of this twist, and slowly releasing, kind of like recentering or realigning, maybe rolling onto your back again. like we did on the other side, just lying back for a moment. And then we're going to actually move all the way onto our back. So if you are using any kinds of pillows or props, you can just set those aside. You might use them on your back. We're just going to come into a reclining spinal twist. So if you know that you like to twist with props, then by all means use whatever you have. Otherwise, we're just going to come down onto our backs. We'll start with a nice, soothing little rock, knees to chest. You can interlace your hands around your knees. Just pulling those knees into the chest, compressing the belly. Maybe a little rocking movement side to side, if that feels good. I like to make little circles in one direction with my knees. Feels good on my belly. So you're compressing and then releasing. You can always go back the other way too if you want to even or balance it out. And then we're just going to move into a one-leg spinal twist. So go ahead and let's start with our left foot on the floor. So have your left foot on the floor, your right knee still into your chest. And using your left foot, you're going to lift your hips up and you're going to move them over to the right. So you're almost laying on just the left hip. And then that left leg will straighten out as you cross the bent right leg over for the one leg spinal twist. Pressing into your left shoulder to bring your right shoulder back to the floor. I like to reach my right arm away, or sometimes I'll bend that straight leg and hold that foot. So holding my left foot, this is called cat pulling its tail. You could do that too. Kind of adds a little quad stretch to it. I've got my hand resting on my outer right thigh. This would be a good spot to put like some support underneath your knee if you wanted to. And then you're just coming into a nice big twist. I'll also take my left hand and I'll hold my own hip and kind of push like I'm giving myself my own assist. We'll be here for just a few minutes, so maybe not as long as we've been in some of the other postures tonight. Just a few minutes here in this nice, deep, reclined spinal twist. Notice too, as you're here with your breath, you might feel that you kind of release the twist a little bit as you inhale. And then as you exhale, it might feel like you're deepening the twist. So there might be a little sort of natural undulation happening in your spine and in your torso as you're here. Again, you're just releasing space, or you're holding space for releasing. You're holding space to clear any unneeded energy out, your second and third chakras, or anywhere else, emotional energy maybe, old stories. Just giving yourself a chance to hold that space for your own release, your own clearing, your own cleansing. breaths here. Go ahead and release your twist. Maybe bringing both feet back to the floor, centering, squaring your hips. I like to rest with my feet apart and my knees together. It's like constructive resting pose, this is called. Wide feet, knees together. You could also maybe be maybe you're resting in reclined butterfly, feet together, knees apart. That's a little too intense for me. I like a little more support. And just feeling the difference from your right side to your left side. Again, letting the energy reconfigure itself within you, the prana, letting it reconfigure to maybe a more aligned, streamlined way, form. Freeing up those meridian lines or energy channels. And then we'll take it over to the other side. So the left knee is going to come into the chest, or if you did the left last time, then do the right this time, no big deal. And again, you'll lift those hips up. So I'm pressing into my right foot. My hips are up. Hips are going to go to the left. My right leg's going to straighten, and my bent left knee is going to go across my body. And you might find that one side twists a little more easily than the other side. It doesn't mean it's better. It just means that, one side twists a little more easily than the other. This side twists a little more easily for me than the other side did. Feel free to press into your right arm to bring your left shoulder closer to the floor. If your shoulder doesn't get to the floor and it feels uncomfortable kind of hanging out in space like this, feel free to take like a blanket or one of those pillows or something, whatever you've got, and just stuff it underneath there so your shoulder has something to rest on. You can use a book, you can use pretty much anything. Then again, the other hand can kind of help give you a little assist maybe on that hip as you exhale. Feel free to keep your gaze up, eyes closed. You can turn your head over to the left or the right. Notice if you're clenching any parts of your legs, your thighs, your glutes or buttocks, any of those parts of the lower body. If they're starting to squeeze or clench in any way, try to relax. For me, the leg that's on the bottom, so in this case it's my right leg, that particular glute muscle will try to keep like re-engaging just over and over again. It's like engage, disengage, engage, disengage. You might have some spots like that in your body too. It's like squeeze, release. This last moment or two to find any other bits of movement, any other releasing movements. You could hug your knees back into your chest again, rock side to side. And then when you're ready, I invite you to settle into a comfortable spot on your back, on your side, legs up the wall, on your belly. If you have those pillows, you could put the pillows under your head or under your knees. Just coming into a place of stillness, of support, of comfort. Remember to bring the whale medicine into balance. Self-care is the most important thing that we can do. And self-care has such a buzz around it these days. It's such a buzzword. everything self-care, right? Like, if you choose to have, I don't know, a bigger coffee than usual, that's self-care. Not saying that it isn't, but this is the self-care that you're participating in right now, or later, if you're watching this later. This is true self-care. You have just reconfigured, reorganized your energy in your body so that energy can flow, prana can flow more freely through you. You're more open. There's more flow within you. Maybe taking a couple of deep breaths in the nose, out the mouth, to really just release as much of yourself into relaxation as you can. Each exhale, you're giving your body permission to just let go. With each exhale, you're giving your mind permission to just relax. To feel that same sense of let go that your body does, to feel that connection between the body and the mind, between the heart and the mind. Feeling the heaviness and the weight of your own body. Feel as though you're lying on a bed of soft green moss. Feeling your body just dropping down, releasing down, sinking down, down, down. And you may notice that there's subtle feelings, sensations kind of moving through or around within your body. Might feel like spirals, tingles. Maybe it feels like streams or pulses. This is that snow from the energetic snow globe. It's realigning, reconfiguring. You're tuning in, getting a clearer frequency to your own self-trust and your own knowing. A clearer connection to you.